Hey, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. I'm James.
And I'm Anna. Ever forgotten someone's name? It happens to everyone.
But do you know how to handle it smoothly in English?
Don't worry. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to say.
And trust me, you'll need this at some point.
So stick around and let's dive in.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, hey, what are you doing in this neighborhood? Do you live around here?
Actually, my office is right around the corner. It was great meeting you last week at the conference. I really enjoyed our conversation about foreign investment.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
You know, I'm in a bit of a hurry, but here's my card. We should definitely meet up again and continue our discussion.
Sure, you still have my contact details, right?
You know what? This is really embarrassing, but your name has just slipped my mind. Can you remind me?
Sure. My name is Jessica Ferris. Don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. I'm terrible with names, too.
Let's go over some of the key phrases that will help you in these situations. First up, we heard, I'm in a bit of a hurry. This is a great way to say that you don't have much time, but notice how polite it sounds. Instead of just saying, I'm busy or I have to go, this phrase makes it sound more natural and less abrupt. Example, I can't talk right now. I'm in a bit of a hurry.
Super useful in daily life. Now, what about slipped my mind?
Ah, I love this phrase. It means you forgot something unintentionally. It's much better than saying I forgot because it sounds less careless.
And then we heard, I'm terrible with names.
A great way to admit that you struggle with something without sounding too bad about it. You can use this structure with other things like,
So next time you forget a name, just smile and say, I'm terrible with names.
before we wrap up, let's add something fun. Memory tricks for remembering names.
Yes, here are some creative ways to make names stick in your mind.
Try associating the person's name with a unique feature. For example, if you meet a Sarah who wears red, think of Scarlet Sarah.
Or use rhymes, like Mike on a bike or Linda loves lasagna.
Another tip, repeat the name in conversation right away. Instead of just saying, nice to meet you, say, nice to meet you, Jessica.
And finally, visualize the name written out in bold letters. Your brain loves images.
Test these out and see which one works best for you.
Hey everyone, it's Anna here. I want to take a few moments to talk about something that I think a lot of you can relate to. Confidence in speaking English. We've talked about embarrassing moments today, and I know how easy it is to feel self-conscious when speaking a new language. Maybe you're afraid of making a mistake. Maybe you worry that people will laugh at your pronunciation or that you'll forget a word in the middle of a sentence. If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. I felt the exact same way when I was learning Spanish. I remember this one time I was in Spain, and I was trying to tell a shopkeeper that I was embarrassed because I forgot my wallet. Instead of saying estoy avergonzada, which means embarrassed, I said estoy embarazada. And guess what? That means I'm pregnant. The shopkeeper gave me the strangest look, and I didn't even realize my mistake until later. Now, at the time, I wanted to disappear. But looking back, I laugh about it. And you know what? I never forgot the right word after that. That's the thing about mistakes. They're actually one of the best ways to learn. When you make a mistake, your brain remembers it. So instead of fearing mistakes, start embracing them. Every mistake you make is a step forward in your learning journey. Another thing I've noticed is that many English learners hesitate to speak because they feel like their English isn't good enough. But let me ask you this. What does good enough even mean? Do you need to speak with perfect grammar? Do you need to sound like a native speaker? No, absolutely not. Think about it. How often do native English speakers make mistakes? All the time. They forget words, mix up grammar, and sometimes even struggle to express their thoughts clearly. The difference is they don't let those mistakes stop them from speaking. So I want you to adopt the same mindset. The next time you're in a situation where you need to speak English, don't focus on being perfect. Focus on being understood. If you forget a word, try to explain it another way. If your grammar isn't perfect, don't stress about it. The most important thing is communication. Now, let's talk about practical ways to build confidence. One of the best things you can do is practice speaking out loud every day. Even if you don't have someone to talk to, you can still practice. Try describing your day in English, or talk to yourself while cooking or driving. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. Another great technique is shadowing. This means listening to native speakers and repeating what they say, word for word, with the same rhythm and intonation. You can do this with movies, TV shows, or podcasts. It helps train your mouth and ears to get used to natural English patterns. And finally, don't be afraid to put yourself in real conversations. If you have an opportunity to speak with native English speakers, take it. Join an online language exchange, find a speaking partner, or even practice with a friend. The more real-world practice you get, the more confident you'll become. Before I wrap up, I want to remind you of something important. Every single fluent English speaker was once a beginner. Nobody starts out perfect. It takes time, practice, and yes, lots of mistakes. But if you keep going, you will get better. So, my challenge for you is this. Over the next week, I want you to speak English every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Find a way to practice, whether it's talking to a friend, recording yourself, or repeating phrases from a podcast. The more you do it, the more natural it will feel. You've got this. Keep practicing, stay confident, and most importantly, have fun with your English learning journey.
All right, it's James here. Now that we've gone over today's lesson, I want to talk about something that I think is really valuable. Not just for learning English, but for social success in general. How to remember names and important details about people. Think about the most charismatic people you know. What's one thing they all have in common? They make others feel special. And one of the easiest ways to do that is by remembering their name. But let's be honest. How many times have you met someone and within seconds completely forgotten their name? It happens to all of us. Our brains are bombarded with so much information that names often slip away. But don't worry. I've got some powerful memory tricks to help you never forget a name again. First, the 3-time rule. When you meet someone new, say their name 3 times within the first few minutes. For example, "Nice to meet you, Jessica." "So, Jessica, what do you do for work?" "That's really interesting, Jessica." Repeating their name reinforces it in your memory. Second, the name association trick. This means connecting the name to something familiar. Let's say you meet a guy named Mark. Picture a giant check mark over his head. If you meet a Lisa, imagine the Mona Lisa. The more ridiculous the image, the better your brain remembers it. Third, the celebrity connection. If you meet a David, think of David Beckham. If you meet an Emma, think of Emma Watson. Linking new names to famous people helps your brain recall them faster. And here's another big one. Write it down. When you meet someone important, write their name down in your phone or notebook. Seeing the name in writing helps reinforce it. Now let's talk about something even more powerful. Remembering details about people. This is what separates good communicators from great ones. When you meet someone, try to remember at least one key detail about them. Maybe their favorite hobby, their job, or a fun fact they mentioned. Then, the next time you see them, bring it up. For example, if someone tells you they love hiking, next time you see them, ask, "Hey, have you been on any cool hikes lately?" If they mention they're learning French, say, "How's your French coming along?" When you remember small details, people feel valued, and that creates stronger connections. Now let's address the elephant in a room. What if you do forget someone's name? No worries. Just be honest and confident about it. Instead of panicking, say, "I remember our conversation, but I totally blanked on your name. Can you remind me?" Or even, "I'm so sorry, I know we've met before, but I'm terrible with names." People appreciate honesty, and most of the time, they'll laugh it off. So, here's my challenge for you this week. Try to remember the names of at least 5 new people you meet. Whether it's a coworker, a barista, or someone in your English class. Use these tricks and see how much better you get. That's it from me. Keep practicing, keep improving, and most importantly, keep making connections.